In the workshop, and this is the one you've all been waiting for, miniature live steam injectors, how they work and some common problems with them. And this is a miniature live steam injector. This one's been a bit temperamental, so I'm taking it apart. And to take it apart, I remove the two union nuts from each end, and once both of these union nuts have been removed, the entire top part of the tank can be lifted off. It's just held in place on the column by one stainless steel Allen cap head bolt, which I'm currently undoing. Whenever I build any steam plants or general steam installations, I always make sure they are fully serviceable. It's no good fastening something in place and hoping it never goes wrong. This design for the water tank was about the simplest I could come up with. And all it is really is two water tanks, a large one at the top and a smaller one at the bottom with a larger diameter. One of the problems with live steam injectors in a model of this size is the fact that they're quite messy. First of all, you open the water valve and the water runs out of the overflow. And then when you open the steam valve, the water runs out of the overflow even faster. So you need a tank at the bottom to catch the overflow of the water. And once these remarkable devices are working, nothing comes out of the overflow. Well, very little, so there's not a problem. But with this injector, there's a major problem. It's not working at all. Well, hardly at all. So the first thing to check is the clack valve, just to make sure that the clack valve is not blocked up, which would obviously prevent any water from getting into the boiler. When I lift the stainless steel ball off the seat using the end of a small Allen key, water comes out, so everything's okay there. And on miniature steam locomotives, this seems to be quite a common fault. A stuck ball in the clack will prevent the water from going into the boiler. And really, that's always the first thing to check. Whether you know how injectors work or not, you must remember that an injector receives steam from the boiler at working pressure. And because of the way an injector works, and I'm going to tell you about that in a moment, it doesn't take too much to upset the flow of the water. I would never expect to get this problem of a stuck ball valve in the other clack because that's connected to a hand pump. And with a hand pump you can put an awful lot of pressure on, so generally the stuck ball would be forced off the seat. So, how do these machinations of the devil work? How can you possibly get water into a boiler using just the steam pressure from the boiler itself? Well, you need one of these. This is a book of spells, and you also need something to sacrifice. But I couldn't find a virgin in this area to sacrifice, so instead I made do with the Christmas turkey. I'm really sorry about that. I will try and use a better class of joke in 2018. As I sit here voicing over this video, it's the 1st of January 2018, so I'd like to take this opportunity to wish all my viewers a very happy, healthy and prosperous New Year. Thanks for watching and I hope you found it useful. Oh sorry, I forgot, the whole point of watching this is so that you find out how an injector works. Here is an injector and it's not working. So let's have a look at it. It consists of two cones. There are more inside, but two that you can actually pull out and handle. One is the steam cone, and the other one is the delivery cone. And what happens when a jet of steam is passed through these cones, it is speeded up. And then it meets the cold water, and obviously the steam condenses in the water. Then this mixture of steam and water finds itself in a combining cone, which is right in the middle. You can see it here. It's a very small but very important part of an injector. The combination of these cones and the water accelerates the steam and water mixture sufficiently to lift the clack valve and allow water into the boiler. But it's still witchcraft. And in this image you can just about see the internal cones. There's obviously a hole through the middle of these cones, and there's also a ball valve which sits in the middle. In this image of the injector, you can see the extension that I fitted to the overflow pipe. And when the tank's bolted back together in the correct position, this overflow pipe lets the water through into the lower tank. If you need a more detailed explanation of how an injector works, then there's a couple of things you can do. You can go on the internet and type live steam injector into Google and you get loads of information. Also, you could look at the comments on episode 14 of how to build a Stuart 504 boiler plant, because on there some experts wrote in and felt the need to tell me how they worked. So what about these common problems with the injectors? Well, the first one I've already mentioned, a stuck clack valve. and we now know it's not that. The other problem is foreign bodies in either of the cones that are removable, and even worse, the problem I've had with it. A very small piece of brass swarf was stuck right in the middle of the combining cones, and this was probably left over from the machining of the steam turret, and it was letting a little bit of steam and water through, but not sufficient to make it work. That's why it nearly worked, but not quite. Because during the steam test of episode 14, when I first opened the water valve followed by the steam valve, the injector picked up immediately and then started spluttering, and that was as the piece of brass went from the turret, down the pipe, into the injector's combining cone. By the way, I forgot to mention, right at the beginning of this video, when I first undid the union nut, you will see on the left hand side there's some sort of mess, and that was a tiny little bit of Loctite 542, because I did find that I got a very slight weep when I was testing it on air. Anyway, it's not a problem, that didn't get into the injector. So now it's time to light the boiler, and in no time at all I have a little bit of pressure, 25 pounds per square inch or thereabouts. So I'm going to try the injector and see whether it works at 25 pounds per square inch, and I know it's going to do because these injectors really are good. They will work down to about 10 pounds per square inch. I used them on miniature locomotives for quite a number of years, and I've still got a couple on my very small 7¼ inch gauge Titch engine that I run around the garden, and they always pick up first time. They really are amazing. I always use Jubilee Fittings injectors, which are made by the incredible Mr. Don English and his son David, in a place called Normanton, which is near Wakefield in West Yorkshire. Generally though, I buy injectors from Blackgates Engineering because it's very convenient. I go up there quite a lot. But when I go over to CME Engineering to get some steam parts, I generally pop in and say hello to Don and David. These are a couple of number 4 injectors, slightly higher capacity than the one fitted to this plant, and these were removed from my steam locomotive that I run round the garden, for no other reason that I thought, well, they've been on there for 20 years, I'll treat it to some new ones. I don't know why really, because these ones still work perfectly. And while on the subject of old injectors, or injectors that have been on a steam plant for quite a long time, it's a good idea periodically to descale them. And the easiest way to do this is to put the entire injector in a small pot full of vinegar, or just get some commercial kettle descaler. That does the job as well. You don't initially need to dismantle them, because you will find that after a long period the steam cone and the delivery cone will be stuck in the injector anyway, but after a bath in vinegar or hot kettle descaler you'll find they come out then. So in this clip it's time to test the injector, and here's how you do it. First of all, the injector needs to be cool. Steam cannot condense in the water if the water is really hot, and because the injector is connected to the live steam pipe at one end, it's going to get very hot, because the short piece of copper pipe that connects the injector to the turret conducts heat very well. So I open the water valve, let the water run for a while, then open the steam valve, and then start to back off the water, start to close the water valve, and then it makes a wonderful slurping noise, which means that the injector is pumping water into the boiler, and this wonderful slurping noise is accompanied by nothing dripping from the overflow. Occasionally you will get a drip of water from the overflow, but most of it is going into the boiler. Because this Stuart 504 boiler is not exactly a large boiler, I'm using a number 2 injector. If I used a number 4 injector, this would inject too much water all in one go, and I don't have the benefits of a really hot coal fire underneath this, just a small gas burner. And it seems to work very well with this number 2 injector, so I can say that I recommend a number 2 live steam injector from Jubilee Fittings to feed a 504 boiler or any gas-fired boiler of that size. The problem is the boiler is nearly full, so I've connected up my steam engine. This is the number 4 that I'm going to fit to this plant, and I've opened the drain cocks, and I'm labouring this a bit so you can see the steam and water coming out of the drain cocks. I'm doing this to prevent a hydraulic lock between the piston in the cylinder, because the first steam that reaches the cylinder immediately condenses to water, and water is not compressible. But in no time at all I can shut the drain cocks, because the cylinder gets warm, the steam doesn't condense quite so much, and it runs fine. In this clip I'm just oiling up the engine, because all of the moving parts require lubrication. I don't have a displacement lubricator or any kind of cylinder lubricator on this engine, so I have to stop it frequently to inject some oil into the steam pipe. And off it goes. I know that this video is about how injectors work and common problems with injectors, but I couldn't have a boiler in steam and not run my steam engine. I won't talk over this bit, I'll just let you listen to the sweet music that the engine makes. That's enough of that. It's time for me to speak again, because after all this is a tutorial about injectors. As you can see here, I've really slowed the engine down. It runs very slowly indeed. I'm going to dismantle this engine just to clean it up. There's nothing mechanically wrong with it at all. The main reason for running this engine is just to drop the water level in the boiler so that I can use the live steam injector to top up the boiler. I'm not just playing with the engine. Well, that's not true, is it? I am playing with the engine. But now it's back to the injector. So once again I open the water valve fully, open the steam valve and start to close the water valve. I'd like to mention something about injector water valves. Normally they are not screw valves. A screw valve is the one I'm turning with my left hand, and because the shaft is threaded, as I turn the valve, a tapered plug inside the valve is moved away from the hole where the steam is coming in and lets the steam through to the injector. An injector water valve is different. It's a quarter turn valve. You turn the valve through 90 degrees and this admits and restricts the flow of the water, but much quicker, because now and again you do need to close and open the water valve very quickly to shock the injector into action. In no time at all the injector fills the boiler and everything's okay again. The engine's running once again to lower the water level in the boiler, and this time I've piped it up temporarily to the condenser with some silicone rubber pipe. So I'm currently testing the condenser, and at the moment I'm draining the condensate into this green plastic box. You'll notice that water comes out first, but right at the end, when the condenser's nearly empty, some oil spots come out as well. See them? There they go on top of the water. That's a sure sign that I do have some oil in the cylinder. When I fit a displacement lubricator, there'll be more oil comes out when I drain the condenser. I rigged the condenser so that the preheater coil inside the condenser is only fed when I use the hand pump, but because the injector's working so well now, I won't be using the hand pump hardly at all. I've just about finished running the steam engine. So what I'm doing here is putting some compressed air through it to get rid of all the water that's inside the cylinder, because I don't want to come back to it in a couple of weeks and find out that it's rusted solid. After blowing all the water away with the compressed air line, I put some oil in the engine and flushed that through, quite a lot of oil, a couple of times. Because the baseboard isn't finished and it's not fully waterproofed or oil-proofed, I thought it was a good idea to just wipe it over with a cloth to get rid of the oil residue. I'm using the air line, at quite low air pressure may I add, to just blow away any water from around the water tank that's found its way onto the baseboard. Once the baseboard's fully waterproofed, I won't have to do this. This has been a special extended New Year's Day 2018 video, and once again I'd like to wish anybody who's watching this a very happy new year. And may all your live steam injectors always work perfectly and never dribble. So if you would like more information on live steam injectors, please don't message me, because there's just so much of it on the internet. Just type the words live steam injector into Google. And that's it for now. Thanks for watching, and I hope you found it useful.